A few days ago, I made a video criticizing this journalist, Peter Walker, and he's responded to my criticism. But first, I want to point out this beautiful shirt that is encouraging all the liberals to get their bike locks to join the bicycle green revolution. Liberals get the bike lock too is one of my shirts available over at teespring.com/timcast or teespring.com/stores/timcast, either works. And you can see you got the revolution and the bike lock. Yeah, it's a bicycle revolution, man. We're gonna go green for the environment. And so get the shirt if you like it. But let's get to the story. Peter Walker tweeted, "Some curious man with too much time on his hands, who has produced a YouTube video calling me a slimy journalist, is now complaining on Twitter that I never responded to him. Ladies and gentlemen, 2018. Hear, hear, Peter Walker." Now, I certainly called him a slimy journalist, and I responded to Mr. Walker. I sent a request to The Guardian as to their official stance on the alt-right and your statement calling them robust libertarians. The Guardian did not respond. In your effort to smear one group, you defended the alt-right. Now, this is stemming from a story where he wrote about Count Dankula and said that Count Dankula was linked to the alt-right. For those that aren't familiar, the alt-right is clearly defined by the Associated Press, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Anti-Defamation League, and every aggregate source on Wikipedia. You don't have to agree with any of that sources, but the point is, when you have all of these different outlets saying, hey, the alt-right are white ethno-nationalists, right? They are people who want a country for white people, then it's safe to say that is the general understanding of what the word means. Now, Mr. Walker tweeted that it was a subjective term, and that alt-right could actually mean a robust group of libertarians who are somewhat contrarian and have a tinge of Trump support, something to that effect. And in my opinion, this is tantamount to defending the alt-right. He is effectively sanitizing what the alt-right is. Look, you're allowed to believe what you want. If you're alt-right and you believe in these things and think you have a right to do it, go right ahead. I personally disagree with identity politics and the idea of a white ethno-state, mostly because of my personal background, but also I just don't like racism and this idea of segregation. That the far left does the same thing. The alt-right has a similar message. I don't like any of it. And recently we saw Richard Spencer say they're not for free speech, so they're not for freedom of expression, and they want a white ethnicist. I don't even know. Look, I'm not going to get into this. Let's keep our focus on Mr. Walker here, who tried to make it seem like you could be a robust libertarian who supports Trump, and you are alt-right. What do you think's going to happen then to the uninitiated? Somebody who sees that statement from Peter Walker, and they're like, I didn't know that's what the alt-right was. Hey, that's no problem. Yes, I have met people who hate racism, who are not necessarily even, white people. They're like Hispanic, Latino, or even mixed, who didn't know, because of people like Peter Walker, that the alt-right, the majority of it overwhelmingly support a white ethno-state. Like, that's what the movement is defined as, according to Associated Press. We'll use them as their main source. And they identified that way. And when I asked them why they wanted a white ethno-state, they said they didn't. And I said, you better look up your definitions, buddy, because that's what it means. This guy disagrees. Peter Walker says that, no, you could be alt-right. So here's what I said to him. You then complained that no one would file a complaint. I did try to contact The Guardian, but they ignored me. Yes, I sent an email to The Guardian asking them if they agreed with Peter Walker's statement that the alt-right are robust libertarians, that I copy and pasted the quote, asked them what their official stance on what the alt-right is, and if they do support politics in relation to a white ethno-state or ethno-nationalism. The Guardian did not respond. So, I made a video. And there's a reason why I called this guy slimy, and it's in here. I said, I assume you're not stupid and made a mistake in associating people hated by the alt-right with the alt-right. So then the best assumption I can make is that you fucked up, you didn't want to admit it, you decided to paint the alt-right in a favorable light to play off the mistake. That's really what I think happened. He said that, Dankula, Sargon, who the alt-right does not like, they don't like Milo Yiannopoulos. He said, oh, you're linked to the alt-right, therefore the alt-right is actually robust libertarians. No, they're white ethno-nationalists. So instead of coming out, Peter Walker, instead of coming out and saying, okay, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have said that, he doubled down. Oh, and there's more, because he continues to double down. This is not even there's more, okay? So then I said, this is why I called you slimy. Journalism in 2018, screw up and then defend ethno-nationalists instead of admitting you are wrong. And I linked the Associated Press standard definition, okay? The AP is one of the most reputable sources in the United States. And they have a guideline as to how the alt-right is defined and how you have to report on it. The Guardian apparently disagrees with the standard set by the Associated Press, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Anti-Defamation League, and several other sources, including USA Today. You can see this all on Wikipedia. Then we have this. This is the thread that started it all. Peter Walker said, cowardly anonymous net warrior posts link to audio clip, which is almost certainly too tedious to listen to. Thank you. Even if it's about me. And still, no one has the faith in their arguments to make a formal complaint about the article. It's almost as if you don't really believe it. I didn't make a complaint. I think you're allowed to have your opinions, even if they're wrong. I simply requested the Guardian issue a statement as to whether or not they agree that the alt-right are robust libertarians, because that's a compliment. To call someone a robust libertarian, robust means like flourishing and healthy. Libertarian means someone who opposes authoritarianism, believes in freedom. I don't think that describes the alt-right, okay? So then I said, hey Peter, I sent a request to the Guardian, they never responded, and he said, nothing to do with me, but seeing as you've called me a slimy journalist, I really don't think I've got anything to say to you. Well, it is what it is. And then I think we're gonna go in here. And here's where it begins. Jasper Jackson then jumps in. And this is a guy who's with the New Statesman. He said, I like how you sidestepped the Lennon Yaxley, that's Tommy Robinson, in your YouTube video. Presumably you have followed the EDL extensively. In no way is Peter sanitizing the alt-right, and you saying he smeared them as only doing their work for them, presumably to make a point for views. He then apologized. Sorry, the views thing is unfair. I don't know why you're doing it. I'll tell you why we're doing it. I'll tell you why I'm doing it. It's because Peter lied. Saying that Count Dankula, Sargon, and these people are linked to the alt-right, what, insofar as they hate the alt-right? And Sargon's been banned on Twitter after arguing with people who are Holocaust deniers? Why is there this need to take this label of white ethno-nationalist and slap it on people like Dankula when Dankula's got a big old commie star on his chest? Okay, you fucked up. You made a mistake. You get me all riled up. So I said to Jasper, you agree with Peter that the alt-right are robust libertarians? Like, why would you try and defend this? They are anti-free speech white nationalists. Why downplay it? And he said, maybe a better phrasing could have been used, but to make the link is perfectly legitimate. And trying to accuse someone of acting with some hidden agenda when you must know that it's unlikely is stupid, hence why I'm not trying to attribute a motivation to you doing this. So I asked, okay, was he wrong? The alt-right are not robust libertarians? He said, I'd say they co-opt much of the rhetoric of robust libertarianism, though they are not that in essence. But again, you're focusing on one phrase as evidence of bad faith. No, I'm not. I'm specifically criticizing the one phrase. I'm not talking about his article. In essence, the article is linked to what I'm criticizing him for, but I'm criticizing him for directly saying that the alt-right are robust libertarians who are a bit contrarian and support Trump. It's an extreme definition most people don't agree with, not even the Associated Press. Is it so hard to say, oops, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have done that? Apparently so. So I said, the AP Standard, SPLC, Anti-Defamation League, Peter is wrong, period, own it and grow up. And then he starts getting into some nonsense about, oh, you're helping the right win. I don't care. There's a definition used by everybody. It is what it is. And then he said there's nothing sanitary about Dankula or Yaxley Lennon. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? I'm criticizing a guy who's trying to downplay the alt-right. So Peter intervenes and says, the SPLC definition of alt-right is much broader than you claim. In fact, they even include a photo of Milo, one of the people who has sought to join UKIP. Perhaps you should look at their page on the subject. Yeah, I did. So I sent him the definition. The alternative right, commonly known as the alt-right, is a set of far-right ideologies, groups, and individuals whose core belief is that white identity is under attack by multicultural forces using political correctness and social justice to undermine white people and their civilization. I don't know how you're going to claim that Dankula is linked to that simply because he shit posts and he makes jokes, other than he doesn't like them. The guy's got a big old commie star on it. He's like a center-left libertarian. So is Sargon. I then commented the statement from the Associated Press. The movement has described as a mix of racism, white nationalism, and populism. He then said, oh, here we go. Here it is. He's walking it back. I never called them alt-right, but said they had links to said movement. Oh, there you go. Right. And I'm criticizing you, Peter, because you said the alt-right are robust libertarians. I don't care what your logic is as to why, what your opinion on Dankula and Sargon is. That's not the argument. Personally, I disagree. I think you're wrong. The point is, you are downplaying what the alt-right is. Why? Well, in my opinion, because you screwed up. Because you didn't do any research. If you spent 5 minutes Google searching what the alt-right was, Wikipedia's got a great source. You can Google search and Wikipedia pops up right away and would tell you straight away that no, these people have no connections to this insane, it's a ridiculous stretch. and it plays to me like a smear. But in reality, I think Peter's just a bad journalist who doesn't know what he's doing and didn't do any research. And now, instead of owning up to the fact that you were wrong, he says, oh, but alt-right are robust libertarians. Yeah, let's change the definition of the phrase alt-right to suit your story, instead of you admitting you were wrong. And then he said, anyway, I have other things to do, but I shall listen to your video tomorrow, and I will expect it, given your self-imposed standards, to be 100% accurate. Presumably, you will happily correct any mistakes. Yeah, of course I will. And I responded, which mistakes need I correct? You're doubling down on your definition of the alt-right in the face of the SPLC and AP, or you're saying you were wrong and agree with the SPLC definition that the alt-right are not robust libertarians. So if you do end up watching this video, maybe I'll send it to you, you can answer that question directly. Were you wrong? Do you agree with the Southern Poverty Law Center, admit you were incorrect to call the alt-right robust libertarians, or are you saying the SPLC is wrong and that the alt-right are in fact robust libertarians? This is a very easy question. I look forward to your response.